So you've got to suck it up, Buttercup, and put on a brave face and go hug your mom. Hi guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to another video here on my channel. I hope you guys are all having a lovely week. I am currently filming this video on Friday, the day it is supposed to go up. We've had a week. I have two surprises that I'm gonna pop in and show you guys right now. I was hoping that they would be up at the time of recording, but this is little Elijah right here. Yes, that's right. We did name him Elijah. And this is his brother Oliver. I hope you can tell how much bigger Oliver is, but these are our boys. They are truly the most amazing little dudes. Like, Zach handpicked these guys for us. We found out that they were born right around the time that we got his official diagnosis with his kidneys. Crazy. They're brothers from the same litter, and Patrick and I have always said one of my childhood cats is a black cat, and then we obviously had Zach, who's orange. We always used to jokingly say, wouldn't it be fun if we ended up with an orange and a black cat and they were really brothers? Because we always joke about CD and Zach being brothers. Well, now we have these two, and I just don't, like, we manifested these cats with Zach's help, and there's no other way that this happened. So we're very happy, and I hope you guys love them. Eli makes an appearance later on in the video, but Oliver slept through most of the filming today, so he's unfortunately not on camera, but I promise to bring them out and show them to you guys as we film from now on. Okay, now that you had that little explanation, we're gonna get right into the ending of season 3. The very last episode, the last scene in the last episode of this season is just, it's worth it, okay? It's worth any little bit of like, oh, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. There's so much drama. Just wait. If you're not already subscribed to the channel and you're enjoying this series, please go ahead and click that button down below so you guys don't miss any uploads. I'm here every Friday, maybe Saturday, tomorrow, depending on how quickly I can get this video edited. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if this goes up at midnight or not. It's gonna be a fun time for everybody involved. To give a quick little recap, we open with Rick, who may or may not be losing his mind, okay? Meredith is running some tests on him to figure out if what's wrong with him is medical, because then she might be able to treat it. So he's in like a big MRI machine. They're running scans on him. Elena and Meredith are watching, and all of a sudden Rick starts freaking out because inside the machine, he can like see his reflection above him, and his reflection starts to like make an angry face at him. So Rick is like, oh my god, what the f-? And then the face above him is just like no, are we kidding right now? Meredith is like, are we okay in there, Rick? And do you think Rick says, actually, I'm seeing like a demonic reflection of myself in the mirror above me, please send help? No, of course not. He just like calms his breathing down and then stares his face down in the mirror, and his face is once again just like, da 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 da. It's so scary. Rick also gives the ring back to Elena. He's adamant that like he's fine, but he knows he's not, and he gives the ring back because he's afraid that if anything happens to him, it'll just continue to make the problem worse. Whereas Elena is like, yeah, dude, that's why you need to wear the ring. He's like, no, I can't risk it. What if I kill somebody else? Damon and Elena run into each other, and they get into a little scuffle about the whole Damon helping Stefan learn how to drink human blood thing. And Damon's like, Elena, we're vampires, not puppies. Like, we have to live like this, which his methods are a little questionable, but he does have a point. We cut to Abby, Bonnie's mom, who, if you'll remember, Damon turned into a vampire to save Elena. She's having a really difficult time with the transition. She is drinking and everything, but she can't work in her garden anymore because as a witch, they have like this innate connection to nature. They talk about a lot how they serve the spirits of nature, and that's who controls them. That's who like gives them their powers. So now that Abby has lost that connection to the earth, she just feels like completely untethered and terrible. And Bonnie is freaking out because she doesn't know how to help her feel better. There is a like quote-unquote council meetup at the Wickery Bridge, which they're renovating. So they're tearing down the old one, putting a new one up. And Rick is supposed to be bringing a Wickery Bridge like historical sign to showcase at the new bridge site. He forgot it because evil Rick agreed to that when Carol asked him. So good Rick doesn't have any memory of that, and that freaks him out. Then while they're all standing there, Sage comes over and is like, Damon, Rebecca, where's Finn? I'm here for Finn. Remember Sage? Sage is the redhead that we were talking about last episode. So Rebecca and Sage get into it. They immediately start like at each other. And Damon is like, can we cool it? Like, we don't need to catfight right now. And Sage ends up talking to Damon, and we realize that the two of them are like decently close. We know they had like, you know, hookup time together or whatever, but they're also like kind of nice to each other, whereas Rebecca and Sage are like at each other's throats. Also, Finn left town, so no one knows where he is, so nobody can tell Sage how to get to him. Elena runs into Stefan accidentally. They're kind of avoiding each other, and she is picking up the Samantha journal that he found. He explains that after Samantha's confession, she tried to give herself a lobotomy with a knitting needle. Ugh. And she died. And Elena's like, oh my God, that's terrible. And he's like, no, you're not getting it. She was in the asylum under 24/7 surveillance, which means she had no personal affects, which means she didn't have her ring. So the ring is not correlated to the madness. Like, what's going on with Rick, there's no stopping it just because he doesn't have the ring on anymore. So Stefan's pretty sure there's no help for him, and Elena's like, well, I'm not giving up. We're gonna figure it out, because she's Little Miss Hopeful, so she's never giving up. Sage tells Damon that Finn is her true love, and she's been waiting for him for 900 years since he's been in the coffin, and she's basically like, Rebecca knows more. Like, Rebecca can tell us what she's up to, and then maybe that'll help us get to Finn. And Damon's like, oh, well, we can't do that. Like, she's too strong. We're not gonna be able to stop her. And Sage is like, she's a woman, Damon. They always have weaknesses, which is a hot take to have, one girl boss to another. But basically Damon invites Rebecca over for a threesome, and she refuses, but the plan is to exploit her weakness in like needing attention, and she'll come anyway. Then they can get her vulnerable, and Sage can do a head dive on her and get the information out that they want. Caroline is visiting Bonnie and Abby. She talks to Jamie outside in the garden, and he freaks out when she gets too close to him. So Caroline realizes, oh, you're scared of Abby. That's not good. That's not good for either of you. You need to get over that, because she's not going to get any better until she feels like she has connections back to her human life still. So you've got to suck it up, Buttercup, and put on a brave face and go hug your mom. Remember when Meredith went at Elena and was like, Rick has all these assault charges. Rick is, you know, scary and mean, and you didn't know anything about him. Well, the writers realized they probably couldn't just like leave that floating in the ether, so we get Rick explaining to us that like, yes, he got into fights, but he got into fights fighting bad people. So did they really even count? Like, he fought somebody because they were rude to a bartender, and somebody else like pushed a woman and he attacked them. But then he does tell her, hey, you know your cousin Logan? Remember Logan Fell? This guy? Yeah. He's like, yeah, so I'm the one that killed him because he was a vampire, and that was my first vampire kill. And Meredith is like, oh, okay, well, that's fine, because like, I'm not really involved in the vampire murders, so, you know, it doesn't matter. I just use the blood for what I need, and I don't worry about the other stuff. Which is so, like, he just told you he murdered your cousin, which I guess Logan was trash anyway, so maybe she didn't care, but like, I would be a little upset. I'd be a little like, wow, that's wild. She just doesn't care. Damon catches Stefan just like downing a dozen or so blood bags, but when Damon is like, knock it off, you need to practice restraint or you're gonna get sick again, Stefan does stop this time, and he basically is like, I'm really stressed. So he's just like overeating. He's just having like a binge episode with the blood bags, which is not funny. It's kind of pitiful. But Jamie comes inside to help with Abby, and she's so excited to see him, she gives him a hug, but then because this happens with new vampires. Her emotions get kind of jumbled up in her head, and she's so excited to see him and so happy that he's hugging her that she bites him. Remember when Caroline almost did that to Matt? Like, all the emotions are like very closely tied together. So Jamie is horrified. He's gonna be fine. She did not like hurt him, but he's terrified now because his biggest fear has been confirmed. And Abby is like, I can't believe I just did that to my adopted son. Damon and Sage talk about Finn while they wait for Rebecca to show up or not show up. And basically Damon is like, you know, he's not gonna want you anymore. Like, he wasn't looking for you. He didn't have any urge to find you again. Like, I think you need to like move on because he's not gonna care that you're here for him. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like, we had true love. And once he sees me, once he realizes like I still want to be with him, like, he's gonna want to be with me. He's gonna want to stay. Then Rebecca shows up and she's basically just like, hi, what's up guys? Like, I'm here anyway. There wasn't anything better to do, because she's got like fear of missing out and fear of not being the center of attention. And it's all really sad. Like, they kind of glamorize it. They do like this montage of Damon and Sage dancing together. And then he's like, I want to make out with you. And she's like, what about her? Pointing over at Sage. And he's like, I don't want her. I want you. They end up hooking up, and it's just like, I don't like this whole thing that they do to Rebecca in this season, and they did it a little bit before, but it's like mostly now that we're getting to know her, her big thing is like, if you flirt with her a little bit, she'll do whatever you want, which is really sad because it's true on her end. She's so desperate for love and attention that she'll just do anything. That's pitiful. But they exploit it, and Sage gets the info that they need. Rick and Elena talk, and he gives her all of his personal information, like his bank account stuff, his will. He gives her info on like his family that's still alive, because remember, Rick is from another part of Virginia. So I think actually Rick might be from North Carolina. Maybe. But anyway, he gives her that info so that she can find his family when anything happens to him. And she's kind of just like, we're going to get you fixed. It's going to be fine. And he's like, well, I want to make sure that you and Jeremy are taken care of, so I'm giving you this anyway. Bonnie shows up, and her and Abby think that they can help Rick because there is a spell that they can do that I think it kind of like, it either like it drains the dark magic or it keeps it away or something, but it's similar to what happens when witches use dark magic. And it'll like infect them and like start to take them over. They need a personal item though from before he started wearing the ring. So Rick is like, my wedding ring, that's perfect. Like, I haven't worn that since I got here, so that'll work. And Elena goes off. Sage and Damon go over the info that was gathered. Now they know they're looking for the white oak tree that Rebecca's looking for. Damon's like, oh my God, I can find this. It's in our milling records, because he's an idiot. He tells Sage everything, and they realize the wood from the white oak tree was used to make Wickery Bridge. That's right, the bridge that conveniently is being torn down to be renovated. All of that wood is white oak. Rick wakes up from a nap home alone with Meredith, and he's evil again, because remember, the ring itself does not keep the madness at bay. So now he's evil Rick, and she's like, do you want anything? Do you want some coffee? Can I make you something? And he's just like, oh, I'm good. He's dumping out all of the medicine that she had that was to like knock him out if need be. And then he goes towards her in the kitchen. So Damon, as I said, is an idiot. He tells Sage everything about the Wickery Bridge White Oak situation, and she's like, oh, you see how this could be a problem, right? Me knowing that you have a special weapon that could kill the love of my life, you understand how maybe I don't want you to do that. And he's like, okay, look, if you'll help me, you know, we won't hurt Finn. He hasn't really done anything. We don't have to kill him. We just need to kill Rebecca. Just help me do that, and then it's fine. You can go off with Finn, live your life. We won't mess with you. Stefan and Elena meet up at Rick's. He meets her there while she's going to get the wedding ring. He basically is like, I'm not gonna hurt you, Elena. I just can't be who you want me to be right now because I'm not in control. Because, you know, he's getting over the like blood sickness situation, figuring himself out, self-growth, all of that. Then they talk a little bit about Rick and how worried they are about him. Elena is terrified that she's not gonna be able to fix him and she's gonna lose him just like she loses everybody. And he's like, yeah, that might happen. And she's like, well, I don't wanna give up hope on him any more than I wanna give up hope on you. Like, you guys can be saved and I'm gonna be the one to do it. They end up finding like a collection of images of Rick's victims, like a creepy little serial killer box where he's been hoarding everything. He also has a file on Jeremy, and he has like notes written to Jeremy that are like, pass down the traditions, keep the line strong, you can do this after I'm gone, blah, blah, blah. Damon is all dressed and ready to go to the Wickery Bridge when he comes to get Sage to take her with him. She's gone. Who saw that coming? Rick comes into the kitchen. He's talking to Meredith. She pretty much immediately realizes something's wrong. He picks up a knife and is like, do you ever feel remorse? Do you ever feel sorry that you're a big liar who's supposed to protect the people of this town? That's what the council's for. The council's supposed to be protecting people. The council's supposed to keep everybody safe from vampires. And here you are using vampire blood for your own personal gain, which is just not true. Like, she uses vampire blood to stop her patients from dying. That would be so cool if we could do that, okay, Rick? This is a good thing. But he does not feel that way. He attacks her with the knife. She throws hot coffee on him. Somehow that is enough to stun him. It must have been some seriously piping hot coffee. She gets upstairs. Remember how Jeremy and Elena's rooms are connected by the bathroom? She ends up in the bathroom, shuts the door, locks the doors on both sides, and then ends up in Jeremy's room, I think. Rick almost gets inside, but she gets the door shut, she closes and locks it, and then she has a horrible stab wound that we see. So she is bleeding out in the bedroom. Damon races to the bridge. Unfortunately, Rebecca is already there because Sage turned on him, got Rebecca, now they're burning the bridge. So all of that wood that was gonna be useful is being burned. Sage comes up and is like, Damon, I'm sorry, but you lied to me. You didn't tell me they were linked. So killing Rebecca would have still killed Finn, and you just conveniently left that part out, which he did. And she's like, I'm sorry, I had to do what I had to do. Damon rears up at her and is like, you are so stupid. Finn wanted to die. Finn was the sacrifice in the spell, okay? Finn was already gonna be dead. So he doesn't want you, and you're an idiot, and you'll find that out. And I am gonna put Finn first on my list. Stefan and Elena get back to the Gilbert house. They find the kitchen a mess. Elena is kind of near the stairs. Stefan has gone down into the kitchen. Rick comes down the stairs, and Elena's like, oh my God, are you okay? Where's Meredith? And he's like, oh, I'm fine. He's like wrapping up the knife wound that Meredith gave him because there was a tussle with the knife. And he's like, oh, Meredith? Meredith got called down to the hospital. Yeah, you know, Meredith, she's not here right now. She's okay though, don't worry. And Elena's like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. He asks where Stefan is. Did she run into Stefan? She's like, oh no, I haven't seen Stefan. I don't know where Stefan could be. Stefan's not here. He gets all the way down to the stairs. He's very menacing, towering over her. And then they look at the same time and see the bloody knife on the floor. And he looks back at her and he's like, and then Stefan pops out and knocks him out. And Elena's like, oh my God, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. And Stefan's like, yes, I'm trying, as he's like putting Rick in a headlock and like knocking him unconscious. So Rick goes to sleep. And then Stefan's like kneeling on the floor with Rick, and they're both just like, what the heck just happened? And then Stefan is like, oh no. And he smells the blood upstairs, you know, because Meredith is dying. And it's such a good moment. He's like, Elena, I'm gonna need you to help me. And they go upstairs and they save Meredith, which is like huge for Stefan, okay? Because she is very much injured and there's a lot of blood, and he's able to help her without attacking her. We cut to Rick waking up. Damon is there watching him. He explains, you know, you're gonna be okay. Bonnie did the spell. Everything's gonna be fine. We're pretty sure it worked. And Rick is like, okay, but where's Meredith? Where's Elena? And Damon's like, Meredith's gonna be fine. Something did happen, but Meredith's gonna be fine. Elena's fine. Everybody's fine. I'm gonna take you to the loft, and I'm just gonna watch you for a little while. We're just gonna hang out. We're gonna have some bro time. We're gonna make sure you're okay, which is a very polite way of saying I'm a vampire, which will make it very hard for you to kill me, so I'm the one who's gonna babysit you, you homicidal murderer. Elena and Bonnie reconnect, they hug, they talk about, you know, how much they missed each other, and Bonnie even forgives Elena and says she like understands, which is not untrue, but a lot goes wrong for Bonnie being connected to Elena, okay? Like, Bonnie goes through so much. We're not even to arguably the worst thing that happens. There are two things. There are two things coming in the next couple seasons that, oh my God, I'll never forgive the writers for these two things. This one specifically, all right? The second one that happens, but the first one is terrible, but the second one, I will never forgive them. Caroline and Jamie garden together. She explains that she went through the same thing with her dad, but her dad chose to not transition. So she just really wants everything to work out for this family and help them through it and make sure everybody's okay. Then she hears Abby in the house and she's like, oh, Abby's awake, let me go get her. She goes inside and catches Abby writing a goodbye note. She's like packed a bag, she's gonna leave. And Caroline's like, I can't believe you're gonna do this to them again. Like, Bonnie is never gonna recover from this. And Abby's like, tell them I'm sorry, but like, I can't do this. Like, I can't be the mom they need me to be, so I'm just gonna leave. Elena calls to check on Jeremy. He's doing really good. He got a dog. She is kind of like on the verge of telling him what happened, but he sounds so good and so happy that she just can't do it. So she's just like, you know, I'm okay. I missed you. I wanted to talk to you. And he's like, oh, well, that's awesome. You know, I miss you too, but I'm actually about to go out with my friends. Is it okay if I call you in a little while? And she's like crying, but she's like, yes, Jeremy, absolutely. Go have fun. Go live your life. Have a great night. And then they get off the phone and he's just like, woo, party time. And she's just like, Stefan is having a little celebratory drink because he is a little stressed, but he's so happy and proud of himself that he didn't kill Meredith. Damon comes in and is like, hey, you had a good day? I had a good day. And Stefan's like, are you sure? Because like we lost the bridge, that sucks. And Damon is like, yes, we did in fact lose the bridge. You know what we didn't lose? The sign that Rick forgot to bring to the meeting. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Wickery Bridge historical sign that Rick forgot at his apartment is a freaking White Oak sign too. They have weapons. I love this opening scene so much. Elena goes to see Rick at his apartment. Damon opens the door and is like, hey, Rick can't come to the phone right now, but he's fine. I need you to go. So she ends up leaving. He goes back inside and Rick and Stefan are like, they've cleared out the apartment, like the living room. They've got a big old power saw in the middle of the room and they're like about to start sawing the sign into pieces. And Damon's just like, she's going down the stairs, she's in the lobby, she's opening the door, and she's gone. And then Rick is just like, it's so funny. Rick wants to turn himself in for the killings because he's like, I killed people, I'm an evil murderer, I need to go to jail, that's what people do when they kill people. And Stefan and Damon are like, homie, we've killed so many people, okay? You didn't do anything terrible, it's fine, nobody's worried about it, we'll be more upset if you go to jail, just relax, we don't have to tell anybody, it's no big deal. Hot take, okay? But that's what they get him to decide on. Damon also convinces Rick to start wearing the ring again because he's like, you're gonna be crazy either way, so you might as well be protected while you're doing it. Elena tells Caroline about Rick and the fact that Rick is the one that killed her dad. Caroline, understandably, does not handle this well. And then Elena has the nerve, instead of being like, I understand, take some time, you're gonna be mad at him, we get it. She's like, Caroline, he's the victim of something supernatural. He didn't ask for this any more than you asked to be a vampire. And Caroline falls for it. And Caroline's like, dang, you're right, Elena. You're so smart. I won't be mad at him for killing my dad. I'll just forgive him in seconds. Matt and the boys show up, and the boys tell everybody that they've got White Oak stakes, which is wonderful. Now they can kill the originals. They have 12, which means they have 12 chances. They're leaving Bonnie out of the mix because she is dealing with her mother leaving her for the second time. Klaus goes to see Finn. He wants to take him willingly, but Finn is just like, I want to do the linking spell. I'm not going to get rid of it. I don't care what happens to us. Hopefully we all die. That's what I want. That's what mom wants. That's what we're doing. Rebecca shows up and is like, joke's on you, big brother. We're in this together. They snatch Finn and bring him back to the house in Mystic Falls, where they show him Sage. And he is immediately like, oh my God, Sage is here. He's excited. They have a little meet cute hug moment on the stairs behind Klaus and Rebecca. It's nice. It's a nice moment. Damon hides his steak in the fireplace at the Salvatore house, and Rick is like, are you serious right now? Did you not learn anything from the moonstone and the soap dish situation? So funny. And then Rebecca shows up and attacks them and kidnaps Damon because of what he did to her with Sage. Sage brings Finn into town to show him around. They're going to like all the places they used to go when they lived in Mystic Falls 900 years before, and it's really cute. And then Elena and Caroline see them and they're like, oh my god, Finn's back in town. They call Stefan and they're like, Stefan, Finn is here. It's time. We're going to kill Finn. And everybody's like, yes, let's go. And then Stefan is like, okay, but hold on. Damon has been taken. Now we have to deal with this too. Rebecca has kidnapped our dear boy Damon, and she strings him up by the living room parlor ceiling by bear traps on his wrist. It's bad. It's bad all around. Her plan is to bleed him of the vervain so then she can compel him to either kill Stefan or Elena. She hasn't decided yet. Maybe both. The witch that Klaus told Finn he has is Bonnie. So that's where Bonnie is. She's not off dealing with Abby's disappearance. She's stuck with Klaus in the little hybrid murder house. She is struggling because she doesn't think she's powerful enough to do the unlinking spell. And Klaus is like, oh, okay, well, and he calls Cole on the phone and he's like, can you send me a picture, please, brother? Thank you. And then he shows Bonnie a video of Jeremy playing with his dog. And he's like, it'd be a shame if you can't figure out the spell and Cole just has to freak out and murder Jeremy in the park, wouldn't it, Bonnie? Caroline goes to check on Rick just to make sure he's still himself when he wakes up because he'll have a harder time hurting the vampires than the humans. And then he wakes up, he is himself, he apologizes for everything. She accepts his apologies and then tells him, you know, I killed somebody when I was a vampire for the first time, like at the carnival. And she says like, he's like, but Caroline, I killed your dad. And she's like, but the guy I killed could have been someone's dad. He was supposed to be their age. I really hope that wasn't a grown man at the carnival flirting with Bonnie, okay? Because that's who she killed. She says that Rick feels bad about the people he murdered and she enjoyed the killing that she did. So that's what makes it different and that's why she forgives him. Elena wants to go after Damon to save him and she's like, we have to get Damon. Plans on hold, we must get Damon. Stefan, on the other hand, is like, actually, we need to kill Finn first, then get Damon, because once we kill Finn, we'll kill all of them and we'll be able to get Damon no problem. Elena disregards everything and goes to free Damon, okay? She gets him out. He's like excited to see her, but he's so weak. She starts dragging him through the house slowly. They end up like collapsed on the floor and he's like, just go, just leave me here. I'm not gonna make it. And she's like, no, it's okay. We can fix this. And she's like, drink. And she gives him her wrist. He starts drinking from her. Again, it's one of those moments where we should not be watching this unfold on screen. It should be illegal. Then they start to make out. And boom, it's a Rebecca hallucination. She got into his head and he was just like, don't do that. And she was like, oh, why? Are you afraid like Elena's gonna be more mad at you than I am? Like blah, 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 blah. And he's like, actually, I was having a pretty good time in the dream. So you could just keep doing that to me because I don't wanna be looking at you right now. Bonnie hears Damon yelling because after he insults Rebecca, she starts attacking him again full force and is like, what's going on? Who do you have in the house? And Klaus is like, don't worry about it. It's not my victim, it's Rebecca's victim, it's fine. And he tells her that if she'll just do the freaking spell and get it over with, he will help her track down her mom and find her and bring her back. Sage takes Finn drinking at the grill. He tries tequila for the first time, does not really enjoy it. Then a vampire walks by and is like, hi, Sage. And she's like, hi. I can't remember what his name is. It is irrelevant. But she tells Finn that she's been turning a few people so that she has a little vampire army because she feels unsafe with the originals and the Salvatores in the same location, and she just wants to leave with Finn. Stefan passes Matt what we can assume is a bottle of vervain. In tandem to this unfolding at the grill, Bonnie is doing the unlinking spell, okay? They have blood from all the different originals and Klaus, and she's basically doing, remember how it like made the family tree? She mixed all the blood together and now she's separating it back out with the spell so that they'll be unlinked, okay? Sage and Finn take shots of the vervain laced tequila and immediately spit it out. Then they see Stefan going outside, so they're both just like, God, we're gonna go get him. And they go running after Stefan. Bonnie finishes the unlinking spell, okay? When Sage and Finn follow Stefan outside, Stefan rushes them with a stake. They knock him down. Elena bursts out of the door with a little crossbow situation. She fires at Finn. She misses. It doesn't matter though because she got him and it wounded him. And then Matt rushes him and does the killing blow on Finn. So Finn dies in the stairwell. Sage is devastated. She's screaming, crying. Finn bursts into flames, so she can't even hold his body while he dies. It's horrible, okay? So she's just crying on the stairwell, and then she like wipes her face a little bit and is just like murder face. Klaus lets Bonnie go. The group is celebrating the fact that they just killed Finn, so everybody should be dead now. Bonnie is like, they have Damon trapped in the house. And Elena's like, oh, yeah, but it's okay because like we're gonna come get him. Klaus is dead. And Bonnie's like, no, Elena, Klaus is not dead. I had to do the spell because he was threatening Jeremy and now everything is ruined and they're all alive and I don't know what to do. I'm terrified of these people. And Elena's like, okay, calm down. We'll figure it out. It's okay. We got one of them. We can get the other ones. Are you okay, Bonnie? And Bonnie's like, no, Elena, I'm not. And then she hangs up on her. Stefan goes to save Damon. He goes rushing out the door because he's like, they're gonna kill him once they find out we killed Finn. But before he can get out, Sage throws him back into the house and is like, this is for Finn. She goes to attack him with one of her little newbie vampires that was in the grill. But before they can do anything to Stefan, they start coughing. Blood starts coming out of their brains. And then they desiccate on the floor. Sage is like, oh, what's happening to me? And they die. Isn't that interesting? Did you guys figure it out yet? I'm gonna give you a second. I'm gonna give you a few seconds, just think about it. Okay, so Elena, Caroline, Stefan, they figure it out. Finn turned Sage. Sage turned that other vampire from the grill. Because Finn died, everyone else died too from his bloodline. Which means if they kill Rebecca or Cole or Elijah or Klaus, whichever one of the originals is from the bloodline that Damon, Caroline, Stefan are from, they're all gonna die. And then Caroline has the horrible realization that like, hold on, even if we're not from Klaus's bloodline, we know someone who is. And they realize that no matter what, if they kill Klaus, they're gonna at least kill Tyler. Bare minimum, Tyler's gonna die. Stefan goes to save Damon. He brings 8 stakes with him and he's like, here are the 8 remaining stakes. This is all we had. I killed your brother, but here are my stakes. Take these and give me Damon. Klaus, instead of just agreeing to it, is like, okay, Damon, go home with your brother. And remember, Damon is hanging from the ceiling with the little bear traps. So he has to like Saw style, just like rip his hands out. Oh, it's so, I can't. The blood level is getting so bad now. Okay, there's so many moments like this where just the sound alone, I'm like, I'm so squeamish with blood. I don't even think I've told you guys that. I am like pass out at needles level afraid of blood, okay? Like it's not good. I don't know how I love this show as much as I do, but wow, it's gonna get really bad really quickly. So that's what's happening to Damon. And then Klaus is like, okay, don't hurt yourself, which is just a joke, okay? Because Damon's very much hurt now. And then Klaus is like, now that I know you can be compelled, tell me how many stakes there really are. And that's when Damon is like 12, which means that Stefan lied, and now they know he lied. And Klaus is like, I'm gonna kill everyone you love, get me the stakes. But Rebecca is annoyed that Klaus took over, so she's just like, ugh, whatever. And she lets Damon go. And she's like, go get us the stakes, bring them back and take Damon as a sign of goodwill. And then Stefan gets Damon out, but now he's gotta bring back the stakes. Rebecca and Klaus talk, they have a little argument. She throws in his face again that he had a family, but it wasn't good enough for him, and now he's ruined it. He's the reason why everything fell apart. And he's just like, I wanted a family so badly. That's literally all I want. That's the defining core of me, is wanting a family to love me for me, and you guys turned on me because I'm a werewolf and a vampire and I killed our mom. So then he's like, I'm gonna take Elena and I'm gonna leave town with her and I'm gonna make my own hybrid family, and this time it's gonna work because I'll have Elena's blood and I won't do it wrong. And Rebecca is just like, whatever. What are you gonna do if I stay? And he's like, if you stay, you're just as pathetic as Finn. And then he leaves. Stefan and Elena talk. She says that he really worried her when he went after Klaus. And he's just like, you know, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I'm done. Klaus is irrelevant to me now. I've lost too much in the process. It's just not worth it. And she's like, you didn't lose me. I still love you, Stefan. I still care about you. And he's like, yeah, Sure, but it's my fault that you now also love my brother. And Elena is like, how dare you say such a thing? And he's like, look me in the eyes, Elena. Look me in my eyeballs and tell me you don't feel something for him. And this girl goes, I don't know what I feel. You do know, Elena. We all know what you feel. Damon goes back to Rick to get the steak. And Rick is like, oh yeah, I put it here. And Damon's like, no, you didn't, because it's not here. And Rick's like, okay, maybe I put it somewhere else. Like, I guess, oh no. And Damon's like, what? And he's like, I don't know where I put it, Damon. Which means that evil Rick hid the steak from them. We open with Rick locked up in the Salvatore cellar. They're keeping him in there so that when he goes to sleep and turns evil again, they can find out where the steak is hidden. Elena and Damon are going on a little road trip to Denver to talk to Jeremy and see if he can talk to Rose, because they need to figure out their bloodline. So Catherine turned Damon, Stefan turned Caroline, and then Rose is the reason why Catherine's a vampire. So they need to figure out who turned Rose, and then who turned that person, and then blah, 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 and trace it all the way back to an original so that they know which one to kill. Stefan wants Elena to go on this solo road trip with Damon because he wants her to figure out what she feels so that she can make a choice. Caroline and Rebecca get into a fight over the decade dance for this episode. Caroline wants it to be the 1970s, but Rebecca staged a coup and now it is going to be the 1920s. Matt agrees with Rebecca, and that just pisses Caroline off, and she's like, whatever, do whatever you want for the dance, I'm leaving. So she storms out, and Matt is just like, oh my god, oh no, and he goes running after Caroline. He's like, Caroline, I'm sorry, hold on, let me talk to you. And then, surprise, it's a joke. He was in on it all along. It was a plan to get them out of the school without Rebecca noticing anything and being suspicious of them, okay? So Caroline's going out of town, and Matt is like, hey, Care, tell him I said hi. And then Caroline's like, I will, and she goes off. I wonder who she could be going to find. Stefan brings Rick some alcohol to help him get sleepy and take a little nap because they need him to go to sleep and come back as evil Rick so that Stefan can get the info out of him. Stefan's like probably gonna have to torture him a little bit, but they're gonna get through it together as a team. Rick tells Stefan, along with all of us, that he thinks he's a big dummy for letting Elena go on the trip with Damon, and Stefan's like, yeah, I probably was, but it's too late now. Damon and Elena get to Jeremy. They fill him in on everything. He's worried he's not going to be able to talk to Rose because he's like, I'm not just like a, medium. I can't just randomly talk to ghosts, okay? I can talk to Anna and Vicky because they were my girlfriends and I loved them and I had a connection to them. I don't just see dead people floating around. And Damon's like, well, you're gonna have to work on it, okay? Because we need to figure this out. And Jeremy's like, I guess we can try, but it's gonna have to wait because I'm meeting my friend. They're at the batting cages, by the way. It's not a friend. It's Cole. Cole shows up. He breaks a wooden bat and just starts like bashing Damon. Then he gets a metal one and he's like, I never got used to aluminum. And then he just starts beating the crap out of Damon with it. He doesn't kill him or anything. He just beats him up as like retribution for Damon killing Finn. Damon fights back and uses the splintered wooden bat to stab Cole. He doesn't kill him because you can only desiccate them with the daggers and kill them with the white oak stakes, but it does knock him out for long enough for them to get away. They go to a hotel because they need to like stay off the road. If they go straight home, that'll be like a surefire way for them to get caught on the roadways. So they just pull over and stop, and they're gonna spend the night and then do the rest of their journey in the morning. Jeremy is like, okay, do you guys at least have like a picture of Rose that I could use and go off of? And Damon's like, no, dude, from what? Our trip to Disneyland? I don't have a picture of her. And then to the room, he's like, Rose, come on. I know you're obsessed with me. Come on. Jeremy's like, that's not gonna work. You need to talk about her. You need to tell us stuff about her. And Damon starts saying like, oh, well, she could do this, she could do that. And Elena's like, ugh, stuff that matters, Damon, Jesus. And he's like, okay. And then he starts going on this little like story time about her last day and how it was beautiful and she spent it in a field of flowers like with horses and her hair was in the breeze and she looked so beautiful and blah blah blah. She was happy, she was in paradise. And Elena's like, I was actually there when she died and it was like not paradise. And Jeremy goes, it was in the dream he gave her. She's here. And then the camera pans and Rose is sitting on the bed next to Damon just grinning at him. She's so happy to be there. That's so cute. Oh my god. Caroline gets out of her car. She drove out to the woods somewhere. And while she's like walking around, she hears somebody. She turns. That's right, it's Tyler. I don't know what happened between the last time we saw this actor and now, but oh my god, he comes back. I don't know if I'll be able to find a picture for like evidential proof. I don't even know if there is anything specific. It might just be a haircut change. I don't know. But oh my god, I'm not a Tyler fan until the second half of season 3 when he comes back looking like this. What's going on? Anyway, they are excited to see each other. They start making out. They hook up in a cellar. They're not in the Lockwood cellar. It's another cellar. Okay, but that's where they hook up for the first time after not seeing each other for a little while. Matt takes Rebecca home, and because her special superpower is knowing when people are lying, she's like, why are you being so nice to me? What's going on? Like, are you up to something? What is this? And he is just like, girl, can you get a grip? Some men are just nice, okay? You don't have a car, so I gave you a ride home. Relax. Once again, something about this makes me so sad because they are lying to her. They're just gaslighting Rebecca left and right over whether or not she can trust people. And she can't. The answer is she can't. The answer is everyone's lying to her. It's horrible. Side note, she's really pretty in this episode. When Rebecca gets inside the house, she finds Esther waiting for her, and Rebecca is like, give me one good reason why I shouldn't kill you right now. And Esther's like, because I'm dying. The group at the hotel talks to Rose. It's very cute. She kind of cuts in and out of being visible because it's like when Jeremy's looking at her, we can see her, but when somebody else is looking, we can't. It's very nice. She basically tells everybody she's happy, she's comfortable on the other side, she's not stressed out. It's really nice to be able to just do whatever she wants and not have to run. So she's not worried about like not finding peace. She's comfortable and content. She tells Jeremy to tell Damon that she misses him and she's rooting for him and Elena, which Jeremy is like, you're rooting for what now? Because remember, he's been in Denver, so he doesn't know everything that's happened. But Rose is just like, I'm rooting for him and Elena, yes. And then we find out that Rose was sired by Mary Porter, which is, her name is like Scary Mary. That's all we get about her. We don't really learn a lot else. But we don't know who sired Mary. So Rose decides that she's going to go try to find her on the other side. She's like, maybe I can figure it out. Give me some time. And she scoots out of there and leaves them there for the night. Rick tells Stefan that he feels terrible because, you know, he's not compelled when he acts out on the murderous tendencies. It's just him. It's something in him that the ring attached to. And that's what makes him like seek out and kill these people, because it is at the core of him kind of what he believes. Vampires are evil. Vampires should be killed. That's a belief that Rick has, because in general, the vampires are pretty evil. They are predators. They're dangerous. Now, Rick has friends that are good, you know, he doesn't feel like he should kill Damon anymore. But remember, when he first met Damon, that was the whole plan, was to kill him for hurting his wife. So Stefan's trying to like talk him off that ledge and be like, you're not evil. It's okay. We're going to get you figured out. Everything's going to be fine. I just need you to go to sleep so you can be evil, Rick, when Klaus shows up. And Klaus is like, let's just kill him. Let's just kill him and be done with it. And then Stefan explains, you know, well, there's one stake missing. If we kill him, we're not going to know where it is. If somebody finds it and uses it, there's this bloodline issue. We're trying to figure out where we all came from so we don't kill the wrong one of you, blah, blah, blah. Klaus has a lot of self-preservation, so he ends up just like knocking Rick out and killing him, but Rick has the ring on, so he's going to come back. Damon and Stefan update each other on everything. Stefan is very anxious that they have stopped at a hotel for the night, which he should be, because when Damon goes into the bathroom and is like, I'm gonna freshen up for a minute, and leaves, Elena like watches him go to the bathroom and is just like, interesting, you're gonna be naked in the shower? I would like to come. Girl, get it together. Esther explains to Rebecca that she's dying because Abby was turned into a vampire, so now her magic is drained and the whole keeping her body alive situation is not working out anymore. So they're talking to each other and she's like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry you feel like I abandoned you. I watched you for 1,000 years. You know, I've been rooting for you. I've been taking care of you from the other side. And Rebecca is like, then why do you want to kill us? Like, what the heck? And Esther is like, because, honey, it shouldn't have been 1,000 years. Nobody should live that long. It's not natural. We all need to die. And Rebecca's like, no, I don't think so. Well, then Esther dies in Rebecca's arms and falls to the floor. And Klaus just comes in and is like, what's going on? And Rebecca is like, she's dead. Caroline explains to Tyler all the bloodline issue situation, and Tyler's like, okay, well, it'll be fine. Like, we just won't be able to kill Klaus because yikes, yeah, I would die. That would suck. And she's like, I know that, and we know that, and our friends agree with that, but the thing is, Damon doesn't care. And Damon's gonna kill Klaus anyway, so I need you to come home because we need to handle this in person. Here we go, people. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Okay. Damon comes out of the bathroom. He is in his jeans and his shirt is unbuttoned, okay? He's walking around the room. He checks the room. He looks out the window. He makes a drink. All the while that he's doing this, in the moonlight, looking all beautiful and sleepy, Elena is in bed watching him. When he sits down at the table and looks over at her, he catches her looking at him. She immediately is like, ooh, oops, my bad. She closes her eyes. But then she's like, and she looks at him again, and he's just like, what is going on with you? So he gets up, he comes over, he sits down in the bed with her. They're looking at each other. Oh, she says, why don't you let people see the good in you? And he's like, because, Elena, when you do good, people expect good, and I don't want to live up to anybody's expectations of me. I'm scared of doing that. She can't breathe, and neither can I, okay? So she rolls away from him. She's looking up at the ceiling. He's still looking at her. We get a close-up shot of their hands, and he like gently takes her hand, and she doesn't pull away. And then all of a sudden she's like, nope, can't do this. And she sprints from the room, okay? She runs out into the stairwell. He runs after her outside. She's facing away from him, and she's like, don't. And he's like, why not? And then she runs to him, and we get the most amazing Delina kiss ever. It's so good. Never Let Me Go by Florence and the Machine is what's playing in the background of this scene, okay? So as they kiss, the music just swells, the lights flicker around them. He backs her up into a wall, but he does the thing where he like softens the wall before she hits it. Oh my God, it's just too much, okay? They pull back and look at each other for a second, and then they go back in for more. I can't tell you how unhinged this scene makes me, okay? Oh my God. But then Jeremy catches them, and he's like, Elena? And she's like, whoa! And they pull apart, and Damon's like, what do you want, Jeremy? And he's like, Rose found Mary. She lives in Kansas. And Damon's like, awesome, I guess we're going to Kansas. And Elena and Jeremy are just looking at each other, and Jeremy's like, I did not see this coming, man. Rose even warned me, and I didn't see it coming. And Elena's just like, anyway. Rick wakes up, and he's fine. So Evil Rick did not come out. They realize that Evil Rick is probably not going to come out because the best place to hide is inside Rick where nobody can get him. So if Evil Rick just stays away, they never are going to find the place where the stake is hidden. So Rick is like, all right, Stefan, you're going to have to be a big scary vampire and you're going to have to try to kill me. And Stefan's like, I so don't want to do that. And Rick is like, it doesn't matter. He's like, hopefully evil me is gonna be more about self-preservation than anything else. And once you try to start killing me, he's gonna come out to stop you. Damon, Elena, and Jeremy get to Mary's house. They go inside. They find Mary dead. Cole pops out and is like, sorry about that. Did you guys need to talk to her about something? That's right. We know what's going on now. Don't worry though, I'm the one that turned her. Or maybe it was Rebecca, or possibly it could have been Elijah. Nope, it was definitely Klaus. I guess you guys will never know now. My bad. Cole then proceeds to just beat the shit out of Damon once again. Just absolute smackdown. Rick starts to bleed and it freaks Stefan out, but then when Rick insists that he keeps fighting with him and like, you know, crazy Stefan starts to come out, Evil Rick pops out and is like, whoa, stop, please don't kill me. The stake is hidden in the secret tunnel room that the vampires can't get into on the Lockwood grounds. Please don't kill me. And Stefan is like, thank you so much, Rick. I will go get the stake. Unfortunately for everyone, Klaus also hears this, so now he knows where the stake is too. Damon is okay, don't worry. Him and Elena check on each other. He's like holding her face and touching her gently and using the low Damon register voice that he does that makes me want to jump off a building. And Elena is like, and like pulls away from him. And he's just like, wow, we just made out at the hotel. What is going on? And then he realizes that she can't say what she wants still. So she still can't pick between the two of them. And Damon is like, aha, you think I'm gonna screw it up. You think that I'm just gonna ruin this. You think that it's good now and I'm gonna make it terrible. And she's like, well, Damon, track record proves that, yeah, that's normally what you do. You lash out, you ruin things, you're a ruiner. And Damon's like, well, I'm not gonna do it this time, okay? I'm not gonna make it easy for you. So I'm gonna be perfect. You can think Stefan's perfect if you want, and you're still gonna have to pick between us. Rebecca goes to the caves with Rick to force him to get the steak. In this moment, Stefan and Klaus are talking, and Klaus once again like threatens to kill Stefan, and Stefan's like, you know, I'm getting real sick of you saying that because you're not gonna do it, all right? If you were gonna do it, you'd have done it by now. I think you don't wanna kill me. I think you're jealous. I think you miss me and you just wish I would be your friend. And Klaus, shockingly, is like, yeah, dude, I do miss you. I don't want to kill you. You were my best buddy. We were brothers. I loved you a lot. I wish you'd just come back. I wish you'd just be the Ripper again, and then we could be homies once more. And Stefan is like, well, I'm never going to be that guy again, and I'm never going to like you. So let go of the dream. It's not happening. And then he has this awesome moment where he's like, the Ripper side of me doesn't control me anymore, which means now you can't control me, Klaus. I'm my own vampire. I'm in charge of myself. Rose pops up to talk to Jeremy and is like, shh, don't tell anybody I'm here. I just want to talk to you. And Jeremy's like, okay. And she looks at Damon and Elena in the front seat and she's like, you're too young to see what I see. They had a fight, but they're gonna be okay. And then she has this like amazing little moment where she's like, you know, Elena makes Damon a better man. She makes him like try to be good and do good things and help people and like be his true self, you know, because like once upon a time, that's who Damon was. And it got covered up by all these years of being terrible and things being done to him that we've not even gotten into yet, okay? It's coming. All of this stuff that's happened to him has just turned him into something else, and Elena brings out all of that like innate goodness in him. Whereas Damon challenges Elena and pushes her and makes her question things, and that's the whole point of like the morally gray situation with him, where it's like, some of the bad things he's done are truly terrible, okay? But it's kind of that idea of like, if he hurts somebody but it saves her, does that counteract? That's what Rose means by that, you know what I mean? And then Rose is like, Stefan's love is pure and he's always gonna be good for her, but Damon is either the best thing for her or the worst. That's right, Rose. Just lay down the law. Just lay it down. Tyler is gonna stay with Caroline. Liz is not a crazy mother though, so she's like, he will be staying on the couch, okay? Make the couch up for him. When Caroline goes to do that, Tyler finds the drawing that Klaus made of Caroline with the horse. You remember that? Where he was like, thank you for your honesty, that drawing. He finds that and he's like, why do you have this? And Caroline's like, oh, he gave it to me. It is what it is. She does not mention the bracelet or the dress because that would be so bad, because he freaks out over this picture and he's like, does he have a thing for you? Does he have he likes you? What's going on? You didn't tell me about this. What happened when I was gone, Caroline? And she's like, nothing, literally nothing happened. You need to calm down. Everything is fine. Don't freak out. Nobody's upset about anything. Relax, Tyler. And he's like, I'm upset, Caroline, because he has a thing for you. I'm gonna find somewhere else to sleep tonight. And he just leaves. At the tunnel room, Rebecca gets stopped at the entrance, so Rick goes inside, he picks the steak up, and she's like, give it to me, don't be stupid. And he's just like, you know, there's only one steak. If you help me, I'll make sure it's not you that I kill. And Rebecca is like, well, here's the thing. I don't just want one of them to die. She crosses into the threshold of the room and walks right up to Rick. And she's like, I want all of them to die. Dun, dun, dun! It's not Rebecca, it's Esther in Rebecca's body. So when Esther died at Rebecca's feet, no, she went into Rebecca. So now they're working together and we are all in trouble. So Rebecca, who is actually Esther, goes back to Klaus. She brings the steak with her, they burn it. He tells her to pack her bags because they're gonna take Elena and go. She's like, I wanna stay for the dance. It's important to me. I really wanna go. I put time in. Please let me go to this. He's like, Rebecca, no, it's stupid. We don't need to go to the dance. And she's like, please, please, can we go? I really, really wanna go. It'll be our last hurrah and then we can leave, I promise. And because he's got a big old weak spot for his little sister, he agrees. Rick calls Damon and he's like, I woke up alone. I guess I must have given the steak to Rebecca. I don't remember anything. I'm gonna go out of town because I'm dangerous. So I'm just gonna take myself out of town while I'm myself and I'll come back when I can, okay? And Damon is kind of like, okay, Rick, if you're sure, like, I trust you. Like, if you wanna do that, go ahead. And Rick is like, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. Well, then when he hangs up, Rick and Rebecca talk, and Rebecca's like, I can't believe he bought that. And Rick is like, oh yeah, Damon's so arrogant, like he would never assume that I was gonna turn on him. Like he trusts me completely. And then we learn that Esther needs help getting out of Rebecca's body and back into hers. So Rick daggers Rebecca, and then that sends Esther back into her body and she wakes up in the casket. Caroline's back to planning the dance since Rebecca is missing now. Jeremy is back and he's staying in town and working at the grill once again. Matt helped him get his job back. Bonnie's bringing Jamie to the dance. That's weird, right? We all think that's like a little bit weird, right? Just like a little bit. Caroline wants Elena to bring Stefan because she's like, it's time. They told you to play the field. You need to figure out which one of them you want. Bring Stefan. I want to see him bring you to the dance. That's what I think is the best. He's your epic love. You need to give him a chance. Caroline's like the biggest Stelina shipper, okay? The way that Rose feels about Damon and Elena is the way that Caroline feels about Stefan and Elena. Who will win? Elena gives in and invites Stefan to the dance and he agrees. Damon goes to see Meredith at the hospital and he's like, hey, so Rick went out of town. And she's like, oh, did he? Okay, well, that's okay. You know, he's gonna be fine. And Damon's like, yeah, he would be if I didn't have this. And he pulls out the jar of herbs that Bonnie made that Rick is supposed to be taking. And he's like, kind of hard for him to take these when he left them behind in his apartment. So something's wrong. I love this because it just like completely proves that Damon cares enough about Rick to know when he's lying. Like he knows him that well that over the phone with Rick doing a really good job of pretending to be good Rick, Damon knew this doesn't track, something's wrong, I need to check on him. Esther takes Rick to the place where Klaus murdered her, which is like a spot in the cemetery. It's kind of cool that that ends up being the cemetery for the town because that's like where the old village was. And I kind of like that it's like still special ground. It's just like used for something else. She basically says that the stake that they have now, they need to fix because otherwise when he uses it on one of her children, it'll burn up. But she's like, if I can make it impenetrable to fire and stuff, then it won't burn. You'll be able to use it over and over again. You'll be able to kill each of them now that they're unlinked. She takes Rick's ring and it's really cool because the ring is indestructible. So she takes that, she melts it down during the spell, then she dips the stake into it and turns it up kind of like a wax drip, you know? But as it like drips down the stake, it like embeds into the wood. It's so cool. I hope I can find a good picture of it. But then she gives it to him. She's like the ultimate weapon for the ultimate hunter. Stefan picks Elena up for the dance. There's a fun little continuity error here where when he goes to give her the corsage that he brought, it looks one way. And then when he pins it onto her dress, it is a different flower entirely. How did no one realize that? It has like stuff on it once he gives it to her. It's like plain white rose, stuff on the rose. What happened? At the dance, all of the couples are together hanging out. It's very cute. It's like a fun 20s. There's like stars, gold, think Gatsby inspired. It's very, very fun. Caroline asks Matt to back off of Elena and he's like, I can do what I want. And she's like, I know you can, but I'm worried about you. I don't want to see you get hurt because she's absolutely gonna pick one of the Salvatores. So you need to just stay out of the equation entirely. Tyler shows up even though he is supposed to be hiding from Klaus and he's basically just like, what's up? I'm too competitive and knuckleheaded to stay away from you. I need to prove that I'm with you and he knows we're still together. Elena wants Stefan to dance with her and teach her some moves, and once again he refuses. Like, my dude, Just dance with her. It is the only thing she continuously asks you to do other than not kill people. Why is dancing so hard for you, Stefan? They end up starting to slow dance instead because lucky him, the music changes at the last possible second. And then right as they start to dance, Damon shows up and he's like, we need to talk. Jeremy goes to interrupt Bonnie and Jeremy accidentally interrupts Bonnie and Jamie. A little awkward. She wants him to stop wearing the ring because it's hurting Rick and she's worried about it doing the same thing to him. And he's just like, I'll stop wearing the ring when my sister stops hanging out with vampires. Damon tells Elena and Stefan that Rick is gone. He's not coming back. He's evil Rick now. And they need to go ahead and kill him because that's what Rick would want, is for them to just take him out of his misery. Obviously, everybody freaks out about that. Jeremy's like, absolutely not. Are you out of your mind? And Elena's like, we have to figure out another way. And Damon's like, homies, there's not another way. We're gonna have to kill him. Esther kidnaps Elena. When Damon and Stefan try to leave the party and go after Elena, there is a circle of salt around the school and they are trapped inside. Bonnie and Jamie get a little frisky in an empty classroom. Again, it's kind of weird to me. I don't love this couple. They start talking about how everybody in Bonnie's circle is like supernatural or magical or something. And Jamie's like, I just can't believe you picked me, a regular guy, to take you to the dance. And she's like, I like regular. It's rare around here. They start getting freaky in the classroom. And then Damon interrupts and is like, I'm so sorry to break up whatever this is, but Bonnie, I need your help. Esther takes Elena to see Rick, where she's keeping him. And basically Esther explains that she wants to remake Rick and basically turn him into Michael. So the idea of like a vampire hunter, but she's gonna do it to Rick now, and Rick's not gonna be corrupted by any of the things that Michael was messed up with, like love and stuff like that. She's like, no, Rick has a purpose. Rick's only goal is to kill vampires. So that's what I'm gonna make him do, and he's gonna be perfect, unlike my husband who was a failed first attempt. Elena is like, that's never gonna work. Rick's a good guy. And Esther's like, maybe, but he's not anymore. And then she explains that each time Rick died, the reason why it was taking longer and longer for him to come back is because Esther was meeting with him. She's been fine-tuning him into a weapon this whole time, right under our noses. Klaus shows up at the dance and tries to take Caroline away from Tyler. Initially, they're both just like, no, I don't want to do that. And then when Klaus insists and tries to like invoke the sire bond, even though it's broken now, Tyler has to pretend, and he's like, yeah, okay, I guess you can dance with her for a minute, and he leaves Caroline alone with Klaus. Klaus is looking just so good. He's in this beautiful light gray suit. Okay, it's perfect. He starts flirting with Caroline while they dance, but she's having absolutely none of it. He's like, honey, be nice to me. I'm leaving town. And I know you aren't ready to accept my offer yet, but one day you're gonna show up at my door and you're gonna ask me to show you the world. And I'm gonna be so excited to give you every little thing that you want. Oh my God, oh my God. Like, girl, go with him. Go right now, go today, okay? She blows him off and he leaves kind of grumpily. Klaus calls Rebecca on the way out and he's like, okay, I went to the party, it's time to go, pack your bags. And then he gets stopped by the circle of salt and he's like, what is going on here? And Stefan pops up beside him and is like, yeah, so your mom's back. Bonnie is trying really hard to break the spell, but she's really struggling with it. They realize that Matt and Jeremy, since they're humans, could leave very easily and go handle everything themselves, but everybody's like, no, oh my God, you can't do that. They'll kill you. Elena tries to convince Rick that he's not a bad guy, but he explains that, like, yes, he is. The blood of all these vampires' victims that he didn't kill when he had the chance is on his hands because that's what he is supposed to do. He's a vampire hunter. He then says, like, he blames himself for even like Jenna's death and stuff like that. So Rick's clearly dealing with a lot of inner turmoil that evil Rick is just like feeding off of. Esther ends up stealing Elena's blood and then she gives it to Rick. He drinks it and Rick is like, okay, good. Are we done? And Esther's like, almost. She kills him. Now we just have to wait for him to wake up and be a vampire. Bonnie can't get the spell around the school down because Esther is fighting her and Esther's too strong. So instead she does a locator spell on Elena so that at least they can send Matt and Jeremy to the right spot and give them the best chance. It doesn't work properly. Klaus is like, how does she have this much power? She must be channeling a location. Oh, big brain, I know where she is. So he sends Matt and Jeremy off to the spot. They call them like hotspots. So like the witch's house where all of the women were murdered, the field where Klaus did the spell with Jenna and Jules and Elena. All of those locations are like hotspot locations. Caroline and Tyler are worried that they're not going to be able to stop Esther in time, and she's going to kill Klaus and take Tyler along with them. And Tyler is like, you know, I'm okay with that if it means that you and everybody else is safe, but you specifically because I love you so much. Esther tells Elena that Rick's going to wake up soon, and hopefully he'll be himself for a few minutes and she can say her goodbyes. Elena is like, you're a terrible person. I hate you. I can't believe you've done this to him. You know, what is he going to do? His whole life's just going to be killing now. And Esther's like, yeah, he's gonna come back, he's gonna kill all the originals, and then one day he'll die, and he'll be fine. When Esther goes outside, she finds Jeremy and Matt there ready to attack her, and when they won't stand down, she makes them turn their weapons on each other, and they're gonna kill each other, and before that can happen, Rick pops up and stakes Esther, so Esther is dead. He doesn't have any memories of what happened, so he's just looking around at everybody like, what's going on? What did I miss? And Elena is like, oh no, Rick. Now that Esther is dead, Bonnie breaks the spell around the school and everybody can leave. Stefan thanks her and she makes it very clear that she did not do it for him. Klaus takes Esther's body. They didn't tell him anything. They just said, we beat Esther, yay, she's dead. So he doesn't know about Rick turning into a scary vampire hunter or the stake. They just think the stake is burned and Esther is dead. Rick doesn't want to complete the transition. Damon was right, and Rick would rather die than risk hurting everybody else. So he's just not going to transition, and now that Esther's gone and nobody else knows about it, there's no one to force him to drink, so he can just die peacefully. So that's his decision. Elena is kind of not okay with it, but she's like more accepting of it because she's a big person. She's very pro-choice, okay? So she's like, yes, of course, your body, your decision, Rick. You can do whatever you want, even though I'm heartbroken. Jeremy, on the other hand, is like, this is absolutely insane. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so angry. Don't give me a goodbye speech, Rick. Don't tell me to be the man of the house now. I'm so angry. So Rick is like, okay, I won't do that. And he just gives Jeremy a big hug, and then Jeremy leaves because Damon is gonna sit with Rick and make sure everything goes smoothly. Elena and Rick do have a little bit of a longer goodbye. She tells him she's so sorry, it's all her fault because he was gonna leave them and she dragged him back into their life. And he's just like, don't ever apologize for bringing me in because I care about you guys, and taking care of you two was like the closest I ever got to the life that I wanted, which is so sweet. Are you kidding? Outside, when Elena leaves and Rick walks out with her, he's like standing at the door to the crypt. In the tree line are all of the people that love him. So like the whole gang, including Meredith. There's like a slow pan. Everything's lit with candles. It's just beautiful. They're all crying. They're all upset. Rick is standing there. When it goes back to him, he's just kind of like, and he like is crying, and it's so heartbreaking. It's such a sad moment. There's several moments like this that happen ironically in the graveyard, and oh my god, this is like the first of many. So he goes back inside to die. Klaus undaggers Rebecca so she can wake up, and then he like looms over Esther's coffin and he's like, nice try, Mom, but you failed again, didn't you big idiot? Try to get me, like you're never gonna take me down. I'm always gonna be better than you. I dare you to try to destroy me. Which, why would you do that? She has come back twice now. Why would you do that for a third time? Jamie and Bonnie talk once he brings her home. She feels terrible that she couldn't do anything to help Rick, and Jamie ends up staying with her to keep an eye on her because her dad's out of town. Nothing happens. They just like go to sleep together, and he like holds her so she's not alone because Bonnie's like very delicate right now, like very delicate. Matt sneaks Jeremy into the grill so they can drink together. This is when Jeremy finally starts to cry. Elena has a meltdown cleaning out the vampire hunting supplies from Rick's office at the school. Stefan is like, you don't need to be doing this right now. We can handle it later. She's like, no, I don't want a janitor to find it, Stefan. And he's like, Elena, honey, you need to breathe. And she's like, absolutely not. I will not be doing that. I will not be feeling what I'm feeling right now, Stefan. I will be doing everything in my power to not feel the things I'm feeling. He takes her to the gym and kind of formally apologizes for everything that he did to her. And then he says, you know, the most important thing I can tell you is that like, you insisted I feel my emotions. You insisted that I not shut myself away. and I'm gonna tell you to do that now too, because this grief that you're feeling is what makes you a human, and that is what's so important. Like, you love Rick, and this is you feeling that love for him, and it's really sweet. And they have this like callback moment when they went to the dance. There was a joke like this, and now in this moment she's like, wow, who said that to you? And he's like, oh, you know, just some girl I used to date. It's so cute. This is the Stefan and Elena that I love. They make such good friends, I think. This is gonna get very sad. So like, we don't really do trigger warnings on these videos. Perhaps we should, but this is gonna get really dark. So Meredith gives Rick a sedative so that he will just go to sleep, and it'll kind of ease him passing. Damon is outside when Meredith leaves, and she's like, you know, he's in there, he's okay, he's just gonna go to sleep. And Damon's like, okay, cool, I'll be out here. And Meredith's like, you should go sit with him. And Damon's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, he doesn't want me to do that. And Meredith's like, are you sure? So Damon goes in and sits with Rick. Rick is like, is this the part where you give me a dream and tell me everything's gonna be okay? And Damon's like, dude, I told you about that when I was drunk. And like, they pick on each other a little bit. Again, their friendship is so cute. So this is just like so much more painful than it needs to be. Look who's here. Look who came to say hello. Say hi. Oh, baby. You wanna sit with Mama while I work? So Damon apologizes for real now to Rick and gives him like an honest apology. And Rick is like properly crying. It's heartbreaking. Bonnie, in bed with Jamie, wakes up to Esther in her room, and she's like, your sisters need you to finish what I started, Bonnie. It's your job now. And Bonnie's like, ah! She wakes up fully, and Jamie's like, oh, Bonnie, hold on, I think you had a bad dream. It's okay, go back to sleep. And they go back to sleep. In the crypt, Rick falls asleep. Damon is watching, and it like kills him. So he's just like, okay. He takes the final drink from the bottle, he sets the bottle down, he goes outside. When he gets outside, Bonnie is there. And he's like, what are you doing here, Bonnie? He's asleep. It's all gonna happen pretty quickly now. And she's like, yeah. She knocks him out. He's like, Bonnie, what? And then he's asleep. And then Bonnie goes in and feeds Rick her blood. So Rick is gonna be a vampire now. He wakes up out of his catatonic sedative state, murderous, grabs Bonnie and nearly drains her. So, Rick is now ultimate next level scary vampire killer. Who's excited? Not me. We open with him in the school, like flipping the steak around in his hands. He's waiting in his office. Caroline shows up at the school. She kind of talks to Tyler. Tyler explains like Klaus is moving, so hopefully everything's gonna be fine, but he has to help Klaus move before Klaus leaves town. Then Caroline goes to the dance hall. She sees Rebecca in there. They start cleaning up. They have a moment of like kindness where Rebecca is like being a bitch, and Caroline's like, hey, I'm sorry about your mom. Like, I know she was kind of crazy and trying to kill you guys, but that still really sucks, and I'm sorry that that happened. And then Rebecca is like, I'm sorry about your teacher. He seemed like a really nice guy. And Caroline's like, he was. Thank you so much. Rebecca goes out into the hall, leaving Caroline alone, and gets attacked by Rick. But Caroline helps her, and they both get away. Rick chases them outside, kills Caroline, which, remember, she's a vampire, so he like breaks her neck and grabs her, and then drags her body back into the school while he is burning under the sunshine. It is such a badass scene, okay? It's real scary, but oh my god, it's badass. Elena and Jeremy decide to paint Rick's room as like a coping mechanism because they're both trying to avoid their feelings. Stefan shows up, and Jeremy is like, why can't we just have one vampire-free day? Jesus Christ! Instead of leaving, Stefan's like hanging out at the house. He goes downstairs, opens the door, sees Bonnie and Damon, and they tell him everything. Rebecca goes running to Klaus to tell him everything. She wants to just take care of each other and leave right then because she's terrified of Rick. But Klaus is like, no, but I need Elena to make hybrids, so I'm gonna have to get her and then we can go. And Rebecca's like, Klaus, I'm leaving right now with or without you. So she ducks out. Damon is pissed that he didn't just kill Rick like he knew he should have. He's like, this is what I get for letting my friend die with dignity. And Bonnie is like, look, witches don't create things that are actually immortal, so there's gotta be a workaround to get rid of him We're just gonna have to figure it out. Rick calls Elena and is like, I have Caroline, get to the school or I'll kill her. Klaus shows up at the Gilbert house to get Elena, but Jeremy won't let him inside, so he ends up just talking to Stefan and Damon like through the doorway, and he's like, give me Elena or I'm coming in, I'm gonna figure it out. And they're like, no, sorry, she can't come right now. They shut the door. When they try to get Elena, she's gone, she's not in the house, but Klaus doesn't know that, so he starts throwing things through the windows to break in, which is so funny. He starts with like a big wad of newspaper, like a rolled up newspaper. He just shoots it through the window like a missile. Elena, of course, goes to the school to save Caroline, and when she gets into the room, Caroline's like tied to a chair and held in place by pencils through her hands, which is very creative, Rick, I will give you that. Elena's like, okay, you said you'd let her go, and Rick is like, go ahead, free her yourself. When she goes to get Caroline out of it, Rick jumps up and is like, no, stop trusting vampires, Elena. Klaus moves on from the newspapers to the neighbor's white picket fence. He tears it into little pieces and starts chucking it through the windows. Rick calls Stefan, so now Stefan knows everything. Klaus shows up with a gas tank and a lit torch, and Stefan is like, okay, stop, hold on. Rick has Elena. We're gonna have to tag team this and go get her together, okay? Because we both want her, so we're gonna have to put aside our differences and kill Rick and go get her together. So now Damon, Stefan, and Klaus are working together to kill Rick. Bonnie thinks she can do the same spell that her mom did on Michael on Rick, but in order to do that, they're gonna all have to attack Rick together because they need two people to hold him down while the third person makes like a physical blood connection to Rick. So in this case, what they're gonna do is like punch their fingers through the person's chest to like get close to their heart. Rick explains to Elena that his plan is to weaken Caroline for her, and then he's gonna have Elena kill her. Since she wanted him to train her to kill vampires so badly, now she can go ahead and do it. Abby does come to help Bonnie with the spell. She shows up at the door and she's like, I'm sorry, Jamie called, he told me it was urgent. I didn't think you'd ever wanna see me again. And Bonnie's like, yeah, well, like Jamie said, it's urgent, so come on. Stefan, Damon, and Klaus get to the school. Klaus is basically like, my plan is still to take Elena with me, and Stefan's like, that's fine, I'll just come with you. And Klaus is like, oh, okay, cool, that'll work, because he loves Stefan and wants Stefan to be with him, not in like a, like platonic, like brotherly, but also he ships Elena and Stefan together so hardcore, just like Caroline. Abby tells Bonnie that the magic needed to complete the spell she wants to do is dark and it will affect Bonnie. And Bonnie's like, I don't think you understand how strong I am. I can handle it. And Abby is like, girl, you don't understand. The spell means that to stop a vampire's heart, you'll have to have a human heart to also trade. So Bonnie will have to kill a human in order to be able to kill the strong vampire. But they have Jeremy, and he's got the Gilbert ring, so he can do it, and he should be fine. Also, Bonnie's brought him back to life before. She can technically do it again. Bonnie gives Stefan, Damon, and Klaus her blood so that the four of them are linked to each other. So while she's doing the spell, she can like work through them when they make the physical connection to Rick and then kill him and do all of it at once, even though she's not going to be with them in the same vicinity. This is the moment where Klaus is like, by the way, guys, surprise, but I'm the head of your bloodline. And they don't know if he's lying or not. So they've kind of come to the conclusion that like killing him is just too risky. It would mean potentially all of them are gonna die. Inside, Rick teases Elena about how she's not strong enough, and when she goes to stake Caroline, she flips it around and attacks Rick, but he blocks the attack, and he's like, I thought I taught you better than that. And she's like, you did. And then she smashes the bottle of vervain that he's been using on Caroline into his face. He's screaming in pain. Caroline is able to get away, but Rick grabs Elena before she can also escape. As Caroline runs away through the school, she gets snatched. This scene has been going around on TikTok recently. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but oh my god, it's one of my favorites. Klaus grabs her from behind and she immediately starts to scream, and he's like, shh, shh, it's okay, it's me, you're safe, you're all right. And she immediately quiets down. She turns to face him and he's like, I want you to go home. We'll save Elena, okay? You go home and stay inside. Go now. And she's like, Thank you. And then she runs off. Rick threatens to kill Elena the same way he killed all the other founding family members that have been like not doing their duty, but he can't do it. And Elena's just like, what is going on? So there's something fishy there because she literally tells him, go ahead, just kill me, get it over with, and he can't. So he backs off, and then the boys come out of nowhere and jump on him. He snaps Damon and Stefan's necks in the hallway, but then Klaus shows up and gets a hold of him, and Rick can't get away. Bonnie starts the spell, but Rick is a little bit stronger than Klaus and manages to like get out of his hold, so the connection breaks. Elena pops up and is like, stop, because Rick is about to kill Klaus. She pops up and she's like, no, stop it. I figured it out. I'll kill myself if you do anything else. And Rick is like, what are you talking about? You're bluffing. And she's like, no, I'm correct. And she somehow figured out that remember when Bonnie was like, there's gotta be some kind of loophole, there's gotta be a way to kill him? Esther used Elena's blood because she knew they're all gonna keep Elena alive. Elena doesn't want to be a vampire, so she's gonna live a human life, which means I'll tie Rick to Elena, and when Elena dies, that'll be when Rick dies. Rick says she's wrong, but when she starts to cut herself, he freaks out, and it's enough for Klaus to get away, and he snatches Elena and runs. Elena wakes up in Klaus's house, tied to a chair, being drained of blood. Yes, we're here again. There's a scary nurse that's like, don't struggle, honey. It makes everything more painful when you struggle. Tyler shows up, and remember, he's still faking the sire bond. So when he sees Elena, he's like, I've got to save Elena. And Klaus is like, no, you've got to go and do what I asked and finish moving my boxes. Tyler has to either risk it all and save Elena anyway, or do what Klaus says and go do the boxes, so he does that. Klaus explains to Elena that it'll be painless and she'll just go to sleep, which is not in any way making me feel better about this situation. Damon wakes up because his phone is ringing. Before he can answer it, Rick is there and he's like, get up, to Stefan and Damon, and he explains what's happened and he's like, go get Elena quickly. And they're all able to leave because of their daylight rings, but Rick is stuck inside, or he'll burst into flames in the sunlight. So they know that they can at least go try to get Elena and leave Rick alone, and he won't be able to do anything for at least the time being. So Klaus and Elena talk. She calls him out on the whole fake family situation and how he just wants to be loved and all of that. And he calls her out on the fact that the reason why she hasn't picked a brother is because once she picks one, she'll lose the other one, which is accurate. He's very smart, Mr. Klaus, okay? He teases her and he's like, between us girls, which one would you have picked? And she tells him to go to hell, so we don't know who she would have chosen. Tyler comes rushing back in and frees Elena. As he's getting her out, Klaus catches them. He realizes that the sire bond is broken. He wants Tyler to thank him for the gift he gave him of not having to turn anymore, and he should do what he says because of that. And Tyler is like, dude, you don't care about me or any of the other hybrids. You just want us to care about you, but you don't actually care about any of us. We don't mean anything to you. In this tussle, Elena gets knocked out, but the boys rush in and kind of fix everything. So they end up pinning Klaus, and Stefan sticks his hand into Klaus's chest. Now remember, Klaus has spent this whole episode talking about how much he misses Stefan as a friend, he loves Stefan, he wants them to have their relationship again as brothers, and now Stefan is doing this to him. So the betrayal in Klaus's eyes in this moment, and the pain in Stefan's, shut up, it's so good. But yeah, basically Bonnie is doing the heart-stopping spell on Klaus instead of Rick, so that they can get rid of Klaus and he won't try to kill Elena. The dark magic, when it touches Bonnie, looks pretty similar to the vein situation that the vampires get, but it goes head to toe on her, through her whole body. It's so cool. Damon gets Elena up. She's gonna be fine. Klaus makes heartbroken eye contact with Stefan as he desiccates for the first time ever. Bonnie finishes the spell and then tries to wake Jeremy up, and she can't. Jeremy is dead. Just kidding, he wakes up. I'm not sure why it took a second, but he wakes up, he's fine. The boys take Elena home. They are gonna take Klaus's body away before the sun goes down so that Rick can't come after them right away. She ends up telling them that she's sorry. She knows it's not fair to not just be picking one of them, but Klaus was right. She's terrified of losing the one that she doesn't pick and never having them in her life again. They can't really give her an answer to that, but they tell her that they'll be safe and they'll call her when they can. When Elena goes inside, the gang is there waiting for her. They're going to celebrate the fact that they finally killed Klaus. Even though not everything is handled, at least that much is over with. Liz shows up to Carol's house, the Lockwood Manor, because Rick is holding a council meeting. He spills the beans on everything. He's like, Caroline's a vampire, Tyler's a werewolf, everybody knows about it, everybody's lying to everyone, these two women need to be stripped of their titles, I'm taking over the town. As Liz is going to leave to like run out and be like, this is ridiculous, these accusations are false, Rick like vamp steps in front of her, revealing to everyone that he's also a vampire. Scary move from a scary man. Damon and Stefan are in the car driving Klaus's body away. They come to a mutual agreement that whoever Elena picks can stay with her in Mystic Falls. The other one will leave, and then in 60 years, when her human life is over, they'll come back together and they can be brothers again. Jeremy is still painting the room when Elena goes up to check on him later, and they have a conversation about how, you know, he's still plagued by wishing life was different. He wishes like they could have just handled Rick, because now what if Rick goes crazy and just kills Elena? Like, what's gonna happen, you know? Elena assures him that everything's gonna be fine, they're gonna figure it out, they're gonna be okay, they're always gonna have each other. Then when he leaves to go shower, she passes out in the bedroom, bleeding from her nose. She lost too much blood. She kept saying she had a headache. I don't think she just had a headache, people. Elena wakes up in bed. Pink is playing on the radio. She just turns the music up. She's vibing in her room. She's excited. She bounces out of bed looking beautiful because she's in a full face of makeup. She goes and gets in her cheerleading uniform. We're in a flashback, I think. Downstairs, she sees Jenna, and then she sees her mom. Yes, we're absolutely in a flashback. Then boom, she wakes up in the hospital. The boys are livid with Jeremy for taking her to the hospital, and he's like, when you find your sister unconscious and bleeding, you call the ambulance. And they're like, no, you call one of your vampire friends to come and heal her. And Jeremy's like, whatever, she's at the hospital, Meredith wants to keep her here. And they're like, are you insane? She is a sitting duck. All of the originals want her. You need to get her home. And Jeremy's like, okay. In the car, Stefan is like, you know, only one of us needs to go home to her. The other one needs to stay with Klaus and take his body to the ocean. Rick comes to Meredith at the hospital. He dumps out all her vampire blood. He's like, I've already told the council. They're going to go to the medical board. They're going to get your license revoked. Your career is over. Screw you, Meredith. She's very upset about this. And then he's like, also, I want you to give Elena to me. I'm her legal guardian. And Meredith's like, okay, I guess I can do that because she doesn't have any other choices or he'll kill her. And then when Rick goes to Elena's room to get her, Elena is gone. The gang takes Elena home and gets her resting. She falls asleep on the couch. We realize that this flashback dream that she keeps having is from the night her parents died when she went over the bridge. So this is sophomore year that we're seeing. It's her at school. Matt is like, you gotta come to the bonfire tonight. The bonfire is gonna be so much fun. I love you. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll try to come, and just doesn't say I love you back. Bonnie calls her out on it and is like, if you don't want to be with him anymore, you need to just tell him, which is exactly what Jenna had told her earlier in the day. She wakes up with Matt and tells him she's sorry for how she treated him and how she should have just told him the truth. She also acknowledges that, yes, she needs to do that with Damon and Stefan too, but she's afraid. He asks which one she's going to let go of, and then Stefan shows up at the house. Matt wants to take Elena out of town when they realize what's going on, but Stefan is like, no, she's safer here. We need to just keep her safe in the house. And then when she goes up to go to bed because she's exhausted and sick, Elijah is at the door. That's right. Jeremy is picking up food at the grill when Rick shows up. Rick explains what's going on and that he needs to find Klaus and Jeremy needs to help him because they want the same things. Jeremy wants to keep Elena safe, and if Rick kills all the vampires, Elena will be safe. Sure, she'll be sad, but she'll be alive and there won't be any more dangers for her to face. Jeremy's kind of listening to him, and Rick is like, look, if you help me, if we do this, then Bonnie can do the spell on me and lock me up, and Elena can live a long, happy life just like she's supposed to, and I'll die when it's time. Everybody wins. So Elijah is hoping that if they will give him the stake that can kill the originals, and Klaus, the body, then him and his family will just scatter to the ends of the earth and they won't have any more trouble from them, he promises. And they're like, you're really gonna keep Rebecca and Cole in line? And he's like, yeah, they don't want to die. They would rather just work together and leave you guys alone than die. So absolutely, I'll keep them in line. And then Damon's like, how do we know you're not gonna undagger Klaus? Like, what if you just let him loose again? Elijah once again promises, he's like, Elena, I'm not gonna let him go for your life, your descendants' lives. Like, none of your immediate family is ever gonna know him, okay? It's gonna be centuries before I let him out again. Maybe that'll teach him some manners. Damon doesn't want to trust him, but Elijah promises, and you know Elena has a soft spot for him. So she's like, after everything that Klaus did, why would you even want him back? Why do you care? And Elijah is like, he's my brother. We stay together. My heart. Tyler comes home with Caroline to find Liz and Carol waiting on them. The moms explain everything that Rick did, the fact that the town's not safe anymore. So Caroline and Tyler make a plan to leave together. But Caroline wants to stay and at least try to help their friends. So they decide that Tyler will pack up for them and get everything ready, and then Caroline will go help everybody and come back when she can. Jeremy tells Matt what Rick wants to do. Matt is like, yeah, we should do that. I agree, we need to keep Elena safe. I know where Klaus's body is, I'll tell you. So then Jeremy calls Rick and is like, hey, Damon's taking Klaus's body to this location, that's all I know. And then Rick is like, thank you so much, Jeremy. And then when Jeremy hangs up, surprise, surprise, the whole gang is listening and they were in on it and they're setting Rick up. Damon and Bonnie go to get Klaus together from the storage unit that they're keeping him in. It is so creepy when they open the coffin because he's completely desiccated and wrapped in chains, just like Michael, but he can like open his eyes and look at them, and Bonnie's just like, I need a minute with him after everything he did. I just want to enjoy the sight of him like this. And Damon's like, yeah, no problem, Bennett, you got it. And he leaves her alone. And then Bonnie explains to Klaus, she's like, here's the thing, I hate you. I hate everything you did. You've ruined so many of my family's lives. But if you die, my friends die, and my mother dies. Now what are we gonna do about that? Stefan promises Elena that he's going to do everything in his power to keep all of their friends safe, because the plan that they've got in place kind of involves everybody scattering to different locations, and it's just Matt and Elena staying behind in the house, and she's terrified that every time one of them leaves, they're not going to come back again. Elena goes to tell him something, and then he's like, what is it? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, I can tell you later. He rushes to her and kisses her, and he's like, just in case there is no later. Rebecca shows up to pick up Klaus, and Damon is like, hey, Rebecca, what's up? I've got him right here, but surprise, surprise, it is not Rebecca, it is Rick. Rick jumps out, knocks Damon out, and then starts searching for the storage unit. Matt makes Elena tea, and he's like, OMG girl, so you picked Stefan, huh? Wild. I'm really glad you picked the safe option. Seems like a good choice for you. And Elena is like, yeah, here's the thing. I love Stefan. He makes me feel safe. He makes me feel secure. But Damon is like all consuming. And I just love being with him. I love hanging out with him. He's so much fun. And Matt is like, oh my God, we're at square one. We cut to another flashback of Elena at the party calling Jenna and being like, I need to talk to mom. She gets on the phone with her mother. She starts complaining that like Matt wants to get married. Matt wants to have children. Matt wants to do all this stuff and settle down with her. And she's terrified because that's not what she wants. And she doesn't want to lose him. And her mom is like, you're not going to lose him. It's going to be okay. You just need to tell him. That's right, Elena is asleep, which means Matt put something in her tea and she wakes up in the truck and he has drugged her to take her out of town. Rebecca shows up for real to meet with Damon and Rick starts hunting her. But don't worry, Damon shows up and grabs her before Rick can, so then he's like, we have to do this, everything's okay, we've got to get out quickly, he's hunting us. Rick finds the correct storage unit, but when he gets there, the coffin and Bonnie are gone. Rebecca and Damon are like frantically pushing Klaus out of the area, but then Rick shows up, attacks them, gets the coffin open, and before Rebecca can do anything, he stakes Klaus and kills him for real. Dude, I'm not kidding. Klaus burst into flames in the coffin and Rebecca is screaming and Damon is like, you have to go, and she can't do anything but yell, and then Rick grabs the stake once the body burns up and he's like, next, and Damon's like, get out of here, Rebecca, and so she goes running away. Damon calls Stefan to tell him what's happened, and they realize together that Damon's too far away to get back to town in time because they have like roughly an hour before they all start dying. So he's like, okay, well, I guess this is it then, brother. And Stefan is really sad that Damon's not going to be able to say goodbye to Elena in person. But then Jeremy tells Stefan that Elena's actually not home. She's in the car with Matt on the way out of town too. Elijah finds out that Klaus is dead, along with Caroline, who now is like, wow, 100% Tyler is about to die. In the car, Matt and Elena find out what's happened, so Elena starts freaking out, and she's like, Matt, you have to take me home. I have to be able to say goodbye to them. I have to see everyone. And he's like, Elena, Damon's not at home. Damon is this way, and Stefan and everybody else are this way. Which one of them do you want to go to? Which is wildly unfair because, as I just said, Damon alone is over here. Stefan, along with everyone else she loves, is over here. So who do you think she's gonna pick? I mean, come on. So she calls Damon. They have a couple little chit-chat moments, and then he's like, hey, so where are you right now? And she explains that Matt is taking her home. And he's like, right, to Stefan. And she's like, no, Damon, not just to Stefan, to Caroline and Tyler. All of my friends are back home. Like, I have to get to them before anything happens. I have to be there when they all die. And Damon's like, yeah, I understand. Like, I get it. And then he's like, can I ask you something though? And she's like, of course. And he's like, if it was just me and him, who would you pick? And she says that she really loves Stefan, and no matter what she feels for Damon, she's never not gonna love Stefan. And he's like, right. He starts crying, and he's like, yeah, I know, it's always Stefan. It was always gonna be Stefan. And she's like, I can't think about always. All I can think about is right now, and right now I have to make this choice, and I have to go say goodbye to them. And I do care about you, Damon, and that's why I have to let you go. And I don't know, maybe if I'd met you sooner. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And then she says, but look, everybody's gonna be okay. I'm gonna see you so soon. And he's like, yeah, so soon, real soon. Okay. And then they get off the phone. But Rick is there. He's back again, and he attacks Damon. When Caroline gets to Tyler, she's freaking out, and she tells him what's happened. He's pretty upset, but also he kind of remains calm for her sake. And he's like, look, we knew this was a possibility. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. I need you to tell my mom that I left town like we planned, okay? She can't know that this is what happened to me. He gets a really bad chest pain that she doesn't feel. So good news and bad news. He starts freaking out. He's like, you have to go. I don't want you to watch me like this. And she's like, no, I'm gonna stay with you. I'm not gonna leave. And he's like, go or I'll make you go. And she's like, no, Tyler, please. Well, then he starts like triggering a turn. So he scares her and she has to leave because if he goes crazy while he's dying and bites her, then she will die too. Caroline calls Elena and tells her. So Elena's in the car with Matt. And she's like, thanks, Caroline. I'll see you soon. And she hangs up. And Matt beside her is like, what now? And it's so pitiful. She says Tyler died and he's like, oh my god, okay. He starts freaking out and like hitting the steering wheel and just panicking because this was not supposed to happen. This was not the way their life was supposed to go. They're about to lose so many friends in one night and he can't fathom it. Rebecca and Elijah reunite and hug each other over the fact that Klaus is dead, but they're okay. And then they're kind of confused because they know that they're not the ones that turned Damon and Stefan's bloodline. So why is it that if Klaus is dead and he was for sure, they're positive that he was the one that is the bloodline for Damon and Stefan, why isn't everybody else dead? How is that possible? Bonnie goes to the Lockwood cellar and she's like, I know you're in here. Come out. Tyler walks out. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. She put Klaus's body into Tyler. Plot twist. Did anyone see that coming? Rebecca calls Stefan and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry about what happened to Klaus. That was not the plan. We still have a deal. What can we do? And she's like, oh, sweetie, there is no deal. We need to get rid of Rick now because my family no longer wants to run. And the only way to get rid of Rick is, boom, that's right, to kill Elena. So Rebecca goes to the bridge while Stefan is like, Rebecca, no, please. She stands in the middle of the road and runs Matt and freaking Elena off the Wickery Bridge. we cut to Elena in the car with her parents. Her mom is unconscious, but her dad is furiously beating on the window trying to get them out of the car. It is horrific, nightmare fuel, and then they go underwater fully. Damon and Rick are fighting, but Damon is not fighting back because he knows he's gonna die and he doesn't want to hurt Rick. Rick keeps calling him names and making fun of him for being weak. Damon gets knocked out by Rick, and we cut to Damon's version of the bonfire night. None of you are prepared for this. He is laying in the middle of the road when he hears little Miss Elena on the phone with her mom talking about how she's not sure about Matt. He comes running over to her and is like, "Catherine?" And she's like, "Oh, no, sorry, I'm Elena." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You just look so much like somebody that I used to know." And she's like, "Oh, okay." They start talking. They flirt. She likes him. And she talks to him right away. She tells him everything she's going through. He listens to it. And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do? What do you want?" And she's like, "I don't know. That's the problem." And he's like, "I know what you want." And she's like, "Oh, really, mysterious stranger? Tell me." And he's like, "You want a love that consumes you. You want passion and adventure and even a little danger." Sorry, Eli. Her parents start to pull up, so he has to compel her, and he's like, "I want you to get everything that you want, but right now I need you to forget about this because we can't have anybody knowing I'm in town, all right?" And then he leaves. Rick tries to stake Damon, but Damon pops up and starts fighting him for real. Elena cuts between the memory of being underwater and actually being underwater with Matt. So we see her dad struggling to get them out of the car. In the car with Matt, Matt's unconscious and she's the one trying to get them out. With her dad, they knew they were gonna die. They knew there was no getting out. So she took his hands and like held onto him. They like shook heads to acknowledge like, "We're not getting out of here." Then they said, "I love you." And then they let go of each other and gave up. With Matt, Stefan pops up in the window and he's like, "I'm here, I can get you out." With her parents, Stefan pops up in the window and sees her dad and is like, "Okay, homie, I got you, let me get you out of here." But her dad insisted that he take Elena first, so he like frantically starts pointing for him to go get Elena in the back seat. In the car with Matt, Stefan goes to grab Elena, but because Matt is unconscious, she's like, "No, you take Matt," and she insists, and Stefan's like, "No," and she's like, "Yes, you take him." So he grabs Matt and takes Matt out. Yes, you all see where this is going. The second Matt is out of the truck, Elena passes out and her body starts to float. Damon and Rick are fighting, and then Rick starts to die, and Damon is holding him while he's dying, and he's like, "No, what's going on? No." And he's holding Rick, and his voice breaks, and he's like, "You are not dead. You are not dead." Because if Rick is dead, Elena is dead. Jeremy is frantically trying to get somebody on the phone to tell him what the heck is going on, and then Rick pops up in the freaking living room. Jeremy's like, "How are you here? You are not supposed to be here." And Rick is like, "I'm not really sure. I just wanted to say goodbye, and then I showed up here." And Jeremy's like, "Goodbye? That's right, it's Ghost Rick, and he's come to tell Jeremy that Jeremy doesn't need to be afraid. Rick is always gonna be with him. He's always gonna be watching out for him, and Jeremy is never gonna be alone." And this is the moment when Jeremy realizes if Rick is dead, then that must mean Elena is dead. We cut to Elena on a table in the morgue, completely dead. Elena is dead. It's season 3, and we've lost her. Damon makes it to the hospital. He comes rushing inside. He's like, "Where is she? Show her to me." Meredith stops him and she's like, "Damon, hold on. There's something I have to tell you." And he's like, "I don't give a shit. Let me see my woman." She's like, "No, Damon, listen. Earlier, when Elena came in, it was much more serious than I told Jeremy, okay? She'd had an aneurysm. She was dying. I helped her. Do you understand?" And Damon's like, "Oh yeah, you're a doctor. Of course you helped her." And she's like, "No, Damon, I helped her." And then we go back to Elena in the morgue with Stefan, and she wakes up. Oh my God. Were any of you prepared for that? I can't. I remember when I saw this for the first time, my soul like left my body for a second. It was like an out-of-body experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a fun one. The end of season 3 is just like completely crazy. I love episodes 21 and 22 of almost every season because even when they're just like completely crazy and they make no sense, that's good TV, okay? It's so fun to watch. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you guys here. Getting really close to 500. I'm ready for that 1K, okay? I'm ready for it. I want to do this. This is my goal here. So if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that button, okay? You're enjoying the videos. We get along, okay? Let's do this. Let's build the community together. Special goodbye to all of you that are subscribed. I can't wait to talk to you down below. You guys are so funny. You guys have me cracking up in the comments every week. I'm so glad you're here, and I can't wait to talk to you. I hope you're having a great week wherever you are in the world, and I will see you so soon. Have a good one. Bye.